Hi, everybody. I am recording this just before I go out for dinner with a friend of mine, and I just thought I would bring you up to date with what's been happening. Not everything that's been happening, but one of the things in particular that I would like to share with you, and that is a journaling program that I have been facilitating. So this is in total a 5-week journaling program. The first week is an introduction, but the rest of the 4 weeks is very much about the actual practice of journaling. And so each week of the 4 weeks, I introduce one or more styles of journaling. And so far we've done the dump journaling, which in some quarters they might call it a stream of consciousness type of journaling. But essentially what it is that you just pay attention to what is happening, whatever is coming up in your mind, a thought, an image, a repetitive line or phrase. It doesn't matter, because the point of it all is not to try and make sense of anything, but to simply record whatever comes up. I like to use the analogy of the person in the courtroom who's typing, and they never seem to care about what they're typing. They're so proficient with the skill, the typing skill, and so all their attention is simply devoted to recording whatever it is they hear. And that includes all the ums and the ahs and the pauses, etc. And so dumping or dump journaling is exactly that. You just sit by and listen to whatever is coming up for you without trying to make sense of it. Just record it. Now, what's the benefit of that? Well, the benefit is that, for starters, it is an offload. Now, I know that this might start to get a little bit crude, but imagine, when you're doing a number 2, you don't care what it is that's being expelled. You just let it all go. And you don't try and make sense of it, unless you're collecting a specimen for a test, a medical test or something. But generally speaking, we don't ever pay attention to it. We just let it all out, and that's it. And likewise with dumping, you're literally offloading. And you know what it's like when you offload physically. It is a big relief, right? And it clears up the space within. Likewise with dump journaling. You offload, and it's a cognitive offload, and it can even be an emotional offload. I mean, it's very hard to actually think of cognitive offload happening without any emotional association. But the point again is that you're not going to be describing your emotions, and you're not going to be, like I said, analyzing, scrutinizing, comparing, or anything like that. Just whatever comes up, you put it out there. And so there's a great sense of relief. And from what the people who've been doing it have been telling me, they suddenly find that there is so much that's coming out, so much. And imagine, right, all of that stuff which was just literally clogging up your inner space, your inner world, almost suffocating it, leaving you no space, no cognitive, emotional space. for any kind of clarity, any kind of spaciousness, so that after you've done the dump, you might then either right after, or what I recommend is give it a bit of a space, and then later on, if you want to go back and, tackle whatever it is that you have had to, you'd had to do. For example, it might have been a report you were going to write, or you had to write, or some of your other work related stuff that you've had to do, which maybe you've had a mental block with, or maybe you've just been tired trying to do it and do it well. But here you have the opportunity, now that all that space has been cleared out and is now available, the resources of that beautiful cognitive and emotional space is now, all those resources are now available to you. You are certainly going to be much better equipped to tackle anything else. Now, of course, this style of journaling requires practice. Like anything new, it requires practice. But as I've been telling my journaling participants, there are a few things that are really essential, and practice absolutely is. But what is the nature of the practice? Well, it has to be consistent. If you want to reap the benefits of something that you're doing, it just can't be a one-off. It's got to be consistent. And it's got to be consistent in a way that is, in a sense, regulated. Now, why am I saying that? The last word that I would want to be using in relation to any work of mine is regulation. But let me just explain. What I'm trying to say is that when you're cultivating a new habit, right, and you want to get the benefit out of it, if you do it sporadically, and if you do it at the whim of your ego, I don't feel like it today, or I don't feel like it right now, well, it's never going to be sedimented, to be laid down as a habit. And therefore, each time you do it, it's going to come up as if, it's a task, rather than your body, brain, mind is now conditioned to simply getting on with it. So, and that kind of benefit has flow-on effects into all areas of your life. So anyway, I've talked about dump journaling. The other kinds, there are, as I said, other kinds of journaling styles that I teach. And so each one of them different and serves different purposes. But I would say that there is an underlying common purpose with all this journaling, and that is it interrupts repetitive thinking. It interrupts old habits of thought, beliefs, attitudes, and ways of approaching life, making decisions. So that's one of the great common benefits of journaling, whichever style you're using. The other thing is it cultivates that level of, or that quality of dedication. In other words, as I said earlier, doesn't matter whether it doesn't matter whether you feel like it or not, you just do it. And it's like brushing your teeth, How beneficial is that? Things like that. So So you do it in the same way, and hopefully you will find, as many of the people who are working in my program at the moment are finding, that it is something that they're enjoying. They may not enjoy all the different styles of journaling, but there are some that they seem to enjoy and are already feeling the benefit of. So, I don't really want to make this video all about journaling, but I just wanted to say that this is giving you a bit of an update of what I've been doing. And don't worry, I haven't forgotten about the body awareness phenomenology series that I said I was going to be doing. I've been preparing for it, maybe not so much in terms of actually putting the video. I'm not quite ready to put the video together, but I'm certainly gathering all the bits that I want to put into it in a way that is really accessible, really easy to follow, because it can be a bit tricky for people who, for a lot of people, I would say, for most people, because most of us are so conditioned to privilege our mind and our thinking, and we're very reluctant. That conditioning sets us up to be very reluctant and resistant to get into the body and, mine that primary data that's showing up in the body. Anyway, enough said. I hope all of you are having an amazing day or evening wherever you are, despite the horrific things that are happening in certain parts of the world. I am never going to pretend that they are not happening, but I'm certainly not going to allow myself to be overwhelmed by them. And I hope that you too can and are doing the same. Okay, talk to you later. Bye for now.